It's a Jeep thing. You wouldn't understand. Oh. Jesus. Some reassembly required. Welcome back, guys. So we're working on the Z06 again in this video. In the last video, we obviously got all the panels repaired. Front bumper, fender, door, rear quarter panel, all damage got repaired. So we got the bumper, fender, quarter, door. Good to go. I want to give this stuff another day or so to cure, and then we will be wet sanding it. But in the meantime, I want to knock out these. These are the inner fender liners, and that's one of the small things on the list there that we want to knock out. So we'll get it done while we're waiting for this to dry. But anyways, you can see how crappy these look. And these ultimately end up going up, this is the wrong side, but these end up going up right in the wheel well liner, or right next to the fender. So you can see, you got brand new paint there, and then this old crappy stuff. They're dirty, but they also get faded here because the tires, which on a Z06 are usually sticky, like these Toyo R888s, they basically just pepper and sand this right here. So looks like crap. I'm gonna repaint those with the old Krylon Fusion Special 17-in-1 stronger adhesion. Probably got primer and adhesion promoter in there, good for plastic. So we're gonna sand those down, repaint these. Should look really nice. Also got a ZR1 style splitter that'll go on the bottom of the bumper there. We're gonna paint that gloss black. So that'll be in this video too. So the goal for this video is to get everything back on the car and maybe even wet sanded and buffed, depending on how much time we have. But yeah, first things first, let's prep these wheel well liners, get those painted. Guys, so next day, got the wheel well liners all dried up in that satin black. Looks really nice, not too glossy, not too matte. I think it matches what these would have looked like when they were, pretty much brand new. So we'll get those back on the car at some point here. I think what I'm gonna do next, I know I said I was going to wet sand and buff. I think I said I was gonna, plan was to wet sand and buff everything on the car because it'd be easier. But I think for the door, because it's nice and flat and I have this body stand, I think I'm gonna wet sand and buff the door. Because it's pretty flat and it'll be easy to work on the stand. I think it'll be nice to sand on it and buff it up on the stand. Figure out what compound I need, figure out what wet sand paper I need, and just repeat that process on the rest of these panels once they're on the car. But the door, let's just pop it up on the body stand here and get to wet sanding and buffing. Just kidding. Ran out of daylight. And I want to buff that, or I want to wet sand that outside because it's messy. So instead, let's start bolting some of this stuff on, minus the door, obviously. So I think I'm going to start the rear fender and move on to the front fender and maybe even the bumper. But we'll get this stuff back in the car, and then tomorrow we can wet sand and buff the door, and then that can go back on, and then get all this stuff to reassemble: window, interior trim, wiring. So enough talk. Let's get to work. guys, we're making progress. So here's where we're at. Got basically the entire side of this side of the car back together. Door shuts absolutely perfect. Got the whole thing wet sanded, buffed. The door was decent, so I only did 2000 grit and 2500 grit, and then used my microfiber cutting pad with some Menzerna heavy cut compounds. Now the door is pretty much glass, good to go. We'll hit it with some polish when we do the whole car. Yeah, got the door back on, the mirror back on, redid some of the wiring inside the door. Still have the rear quarter and front fender to do. The rear quarter is the worst as far as orange peel. I don't know how much of this you guys will be able to see, but it's got some orange peel in it. So I might need to go down to 1500 grit on this, but I'm gonna start with 2000. Got my soapy water, all good to go. And let's bang out this panel and then do the front fender as well. The bumper's not terrible. It will need, no, it's just about perfect on this side. There is a little bit of orange peel on this side where we actually added most of the color. So we'll be wet sanding this as well. Also got the side markers smoked using my favorite VHT nightshades. So we're letting that dry up. We'll probably give those a light wet sand and buff as well. And then we can get those back on the quarters, and in the front bumper here will look nice with the yellow and black theme we got going on here. Let's keep chugging along, get this car back together. Let's wet sand, buff all these panels, and get this paint looking like it should. So we finished all the wet sanding on the front bumper, the front fender, and the quarter panel. So now it's time to put some shine on it. So let's grab our wool pad and our heavy cutting compound and knock down those sanding marks, and then we'll go from there. Whew, that was a lot of work. Finished wet sanding all of our panels and completely buffed them out as well. So rear fender, front fender, and bumper. I think last time we did an update here, I'd already finished the door, but just take a look. She's looking like a complete car again. Yeah, everything's wet sanded buffed. So my recipe here was 2000 grit, 2500 grit, and then, cutting compound. I started the door with my microfiber pad, but I kind of messed that thing up, and I only have one left that I don't want to use right now. So I had to go with the wool pad for the rest of it. Wool pad's great, makes quick work of sanding marks. It's obviously very aggressive, especially when used with a cutting compound. Problem is, and this is why I never use it, it makes a freaking mess. Looks like there was 17 sheep in here and they just shook. Can't even really see it all over the floor, but it's everywhere. But anyways, it does do a good job of just quickly knocking down, wet sanding marks. So basically the paint where it's at now on these freshly painted panels is where I would pretty much start a paint correction. I might even be able to skip right to the polishing stage on these. But right now, just because I was, still lining up components and wanted to be able to get to all the nooks and crannies in the bumper, everything's loose basically. Rear quarter's loose, front fender's really loose. Headlights are still in here loose so I can line those up well. Nothing's mounted. These wheel well liners that I just painted that are now disgusting again are loose. So before we do, a full, paint correction, I want to get everything bolted up, tight, body gap's good. Let's get wheel well liners in, fender bolted up, bumper bolted up, rear quarter bolted up, all the components that go with that. So we're gonna have to break into our baggies that we labeled in the second video, and should be able to get this thing back together and ready for basically final detailing or paint correction. So yeah, let's Alrighty guys, starting to look like a car again. So we got obviously all the body panels on, front and rear front wheel well liners bolted in, obviously front and back, top and bottom. Got this vent in from the back there, door handle on, door opens and shuts perfect, actually even better than when I took it off. Yeah, barely, you basically just let go of it from right here if you can get it to swing past that spring point, and it sucks itself shut. Perfect body lines all around. Got the rear quarter panel all bolted in. Got the side marker in here. Still need to, I wet sanded it real quick. Still need to buff that. Rear splash guards are in. Wheel well liners in. That thing fought me as they always do. They're kind of tricky on these cars. Put some new black lug nuts on the car. The old ones were open-ended, so the black ones look a lot cleaner with the, again, the black and yellow theme we got going on here. So some closed-end black studs look really nice. Cleaned the barrel of the wheel while I had the wheel off. Got this all bolted on, all 5 lugs torqued down. So we're pretty much done back here, other than, you know, like I said, final compounding of the whole car. Still have the window and the speaker and a couple of the door components to put in, but yeah, the car is now complete as far as body panels. You know, everything is secure. I have no bolts left in my baggies. So I know that everything went back in the exact same spot that it came out. So I want to take a little break from reassembly just because we're pretty much done. And I want to tackle this airbag code. So let's hop in the car, get the scanner on there, see what this airbag code is about, see what it tells us. All right, so we got the scanner plugged in here. Let's see what we got for airbag codes. B0103, electronic front end sensor 2 performance. Passenger presence system 1 performance. I think that one's because I had the seatbelt unplugged when I was messing with the door. Let me clear these and see what comes back. All right, so the airbag light went off and then came back on. All right, so the only one that comes back is this B0103. So let's look into that real quick. All right, guys, so a quick search on the web tells us that that code, as the description says, is related to one of these front end sensors. There's one on each side of the crash bar there. Specifically the B0103 code that we have, I believe, is the right one over there. Normally I just swap one out from my turbo car, but I actually had to relocate them because of the intercooler. So those are not easy to get to anymore. So I think what I'm going to do, just to, you know, potentially rule out an issue before I just order parts blindly, so I'm going to swap the left one with the right one and see if the code follows. So I just disconnected the battery. So let's swap these and see if the code either stays over there, which means we got a different issue, or if it comes over here, then we know that, you know, that sensor is bad. All right, guys, we got those sensors swapped. Just scan the car again. Same code. So unlikely that that's either of those sensors are bad. So we gotta look into this a little bit more here. All right, guys, well, I just did the lazy thing. Sat here for about 10 minutes, scrolling through my phone, you know, on Google. Just basically Googled the code in this car and Chevy trucks and this and that and potential causes of this issue with no real solution. So I was about to call it, and then I figured maybe I should stop being lazy and go actually take a look at, other than the sensor, what else could it be? You know, maybe connector, wiring short, whatever. Just looked at the connector, and I don't know how I saw this, but just one of the terminals was just barely, like 1/16 of an inch, kind of, you could see the Delphi weather seal, meaning that it almost looks like the connector had pushed out a little bit. So I took the connector apart, reseated both terminals, put it all back together, and now we don't have an airbag light. That's what we want to see. You know, you gotta love the free fixes. Something simple like that. It's always good to get a fix where it doesn't cost anything and, you know, didn't spend hours chasing down some issue. Just always start with the basics. That's why I recommended, you know, swapping them. Because if I had just blindly ordered that sensor and spent, you know, God knows however much that sensor is, it wouldn't have fixed our problem. And in reality, we have 2 good sensors. So free fix, we'll take it. Let's cross it off the list. No more airbag code. Yeah, getting real close, guys. But I am absolutely beat, filthy. It's like 11:30 at night. I need to go take a shower and go to bed. So that's gonna do it for this video. Next video, I think we're gonna finish this car. I mean, it's been a long time coming, so it almost seems weird saying that, but all that's left to do is, you know, final compound and polish on the whole car, interior detail, you know, engine bay detail, all the little things. We'll put on those new badges I got. Oh yeah, gotta paint this splitter. Already got it, you know, prepped, ready to go for tomorrow. It's raining right now, but tomorrow that'll be ready to go. So we'll get that painted, get it on the car, final detail, done. This thing is ready to go. It looks awesome already. You know, I can't believe how far it's come. This whole side, you know, pretty much looked like crap, and now it's you know, without even a final polishing, it's looking like glass. So, not too many items left on the list over there, folks. Yeah, next video we'll get this thing all cleaned up, 100% showroom, drive it around, and call this project done. So getting real close. Thank you guys as always for watching. Like and subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll see you next time.